I could go back to my life, but I don't like who I was, Bradley. I don't fit in.
Harrison Ford plays a yuppie lawyer who changes his priorities in life after being seriously wounded in Regarding Henry, one of 5 new summer movies we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, along with Patrick Swayze's new film, Point Break, about surfers and the FBI. I'm Gene Siskel of the Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is named Regarding Henry, and all of the advertising for this movie reveals something that should really, ideally, be kept a secret, that the hero, a corporate attorney played by Harrison Ford, is shot in the brain during a holdup and spends the rest of the movie trying to regain his memory, his coordination, and his personality. As the movie opens, the lawyer is a cold, arrogant, efficient monster who treats his secretary like a piece of furniture.
Cancel my lunch tomorrow. I'm going to work through and move the dinner to next week. Pull the file on Briggs versus Gordon.
Oh, what about the Rosenberg
finish, please? I need that Martinson deposition on my desk by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And call my wife and tell her I can't make dinner at 7:30. Tell her to call the Who's-Its and make it 8:30 instead.
Yes, sir.
After the brain injury and months of rehabilitation, Henry comes home again to his family, including his wife, played by Annette Bening. He behaves sometimes as if he's the same age as his daughter.
This is wonderful. All of us together again.
We never used to eat breakfast together.
Well, I always wished we had.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. I do that all the time.
You do?
Yeah. See?
Henry literally has no memory at all of his earlier life, and his daughter tries to remind him using old photographs.
Who's this?
You. Your father used to make you mow the lawn and take out the garbage and walk the dog and wash the car, and then you learn to appreciate the work ethic.
That's Mickey Allen as his daughter. They're a good performance. Some of the movie's dialogue has the false sincerity of a movie of the week, as in this scene, where he rediscovers his affection for his wife.
You didn't like showing affection in public. It bothered you.
Why?
I don't know why.
You don't know why?
No.
Me either.
What are you doing?
Come up here.
What?
Come here. I don't mind so much anymore.
I didn't like this movie very much, and the more it went on, the less I liked it. That's because Regarding Henry is not really about a man with a brain injury at all. It's about a character who can always be counted on to deliver the right punchline. One thing that bullet didn't rob Henry of is his sense of comic timing. I never felt I was looking at a real man here. I felt I was watching a manipulative formula screenplay filled with cheap shots and false sentiment. Henry's recovery is used as a peg for a love story, a legal expose, a family drama, and an ending that seems inspired by The Graduate, an earlier film by the same director, Mike Nichols. What it doesn't have is the kind of courageous fidelity to a mental condition that we saw, for example, in a movie like Rain Man. I really felt manipulated.
Well, absolutely. I don't think it's a particularly good performance by Harrison Ford either. He's not convincing. You see what he's doing. You're absolutely right. There are times when this character is dumb, let's say, when it's convenient for the script. Other times when he's smart. That doesn't make any sense. Mike Nichols, who has had a history of strong social commentary, is softballing it this time. There's no edge to the material at all.
Well, the whole idea that he goes through a change of heart is kind of undermined by the fact that he doesn't really change from a bad guy into a good guy. He becomes a good guy after starting from scratch because he can't remember anything at all about his previous life.
So you're saying it's 2 different lives rather than an evolving life.
Exactly, yes, right.
Also, which guy would you rather spend more time with?
Well, actually, I think the earlier scenes in the movie had more crackle, more sparkle, and more interest to them.
Absolutely.
You're right, yes.
Okay, next film, and it's the reissue of the 1960 Disney animated feature 101 Dalmatians, a film I had never seen, and I'm glad I caught up with it. It's well drawn, the puppies are cute, the adults have some style, and best of all, it's a refreshingly quiet film. not overloaded with noisy special effects or wall-to-wall mindless music that you so often find in animated movies. The story, a bunch of Dalmatian puppies are born to the family of an English jazz composer and his wife, but threatening to take them away and make the puppies into a big coat is their evil acquaintance named Cruella de Vil.
She's like a spider waiting for the kill.
Roger,
Look
she'll
out,
hear you.
Cruella de Vil.
Anita, darling. How are you? Miserable, darling, as usual. Perfectly wretched.
She ends up kidnapping the puppies to add to her collections of dozens of others she's acquired, and two stooges are assigned to guard them in her mansion.
Hey, Jasper. Did you...
In the film's best scene, the puppies try to escape by rolling in fireplace soot, masquerading as Labrador retrievers as they try to escape Cruella's clutches.
She's watching us, Dad.
Keep going, keep going.
It can't be.
Run for it!
There's also a cute running gag about the puppies constantly watching television, a good joke in 1960 when the movie was made. There's precious little for smaller children to see this summer at the movies, but 101 Dalmatians would be a success, I think, any time of the year. I enjoyed it a lot.
I liked it a lot, too. I did especially like that scene where they're looking at the show on television, which, of course, stars a brave dog who is their hero.
Right.
One thing about this movie that they didn't succeed in very well was making the puppies into different characters. They had one that was Tubby and one that liked to watch television and one that was Lucky. And that, but, you know, they were trying to do the same sort of things they did with the Seven Dwarfs, I guess. But really, it's just really 15 puppies all in a pile.
Yeah.
And the other characters are the ones that you remember.
It is cute. You know what I'm talking about when that it's quiet? Wouldn't you appreciate that they did today? The same picture would have had, you know, Mickey Mouse music, wind-up music, and telling us to be tense all the time. And it's nice to enter a relaxed film.
The audiences today, I guess, are supposed to not be as sophisticated as they were 30 years ago, even kids. Coming up later, Boyz in the Hood, about young Americans at a turning point in their lives. And coming up next, an FBI agent goes surfing in a thriller named Point Break.
Think taxpayers would like it, Utah, if they knew that they were paying a federal agent to surf and pick up girls? Babes.
Okay, hot shot. You want to nail the bank robbers and be a big hero? Definitely. The ex-presidents are surfers.
A rookie FBI agent goes undercover as a surfer to break up a gang of bank robbers who wear rubber masks in order to disguise themselves as ex-presidents of the United States. Now, just describing the plot of Point Break like that makes it sound like a parody of itself, like Naked Gun 3.5 or something, but this is a surprisingly intelligent and effective thriller starring Keanu Reeves as the new guy in the bureau and Gary Busey as his partner. It's Busey who has the theory the bank robbers may be surfers, and before long, Reeves is a friend of some of them, including their leader, a mystical homegrown philosopher played by Patrick Swayze.
Everything moves in cycles. So twice a century, the ocean lets us know just how small we really are. A winter storm comes out of Antarctica, tearing up the Pacific, and it sends a huge swell north 2,000 miles. And when it hits Bell's Beach, it'll turn into the biggest surf this planet has ever seen, and I will be there.
Reeves is easily seduced by the Southern California surfer lifestyle and also by Swayze's ex-girlfriend, the surfer, played by Lori Petty.
I taught him that trick. I like it.
Watch yourself, she's a wild one. Make yourself at home, what's mine is yours.
The movie has a lot of unexpected action in it, including this tense moment when the agent's cover has been blown and the man he's after has forced him to go skydiving.
Who packed my shoes? I did what? You don't trust me? You gotta earn trust. Okay, we'll earn it together. Here, take mine.
Point Break was directed by Catherine Bigelow, who made the Jamie Lee Curtis cop thriller Blue Steel a year ago, and who has a genuine sense of style that she brings to hard-boiled subject matter. What's interesting about Point Break is that it's not just a thriller about cops and robbers. It's about a young agent who is impressed by the worldview of a possible robber and who is forced to rethink his whole value system. At the same time, the movie contains terrific action sequences, including a chase scene on foot through the back streets of Santa Monica and a struggle in the skies between a man who has a parachute and another man who has a gun. Now, that was really a good scene. I like this movie.
The action scenes are very good. My problem with the picture is that so much of it is very good, and a lot of it, I think, has problems. Overstuffed. And I'll give you an example. The guys, the bank robbers, right at the beginning, do wear the mask of the ex-president, so you've got Nixon and Ford and Carter and Reagan and all this, and that's okay, but then they start spouting Reaganisms, Nixonisms, and I thought, oh, come on, now that's an extra thing. Let me keep going here for a
because
second.
they don't want to give away their real voices when they're robbing the bank.
No. They're doing it in their voices, but they're mimicking these guys. Let me just try to go. The movie then, I think, runs on past a couple of endings. And then the surfer guys, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's overstuffed.
No. I know what you're talking about when you say that it has an extra ending. I love the extra ending. I would have hated it if it had ended at the obvious point.
I don't want it to end
in Australia that you don't like, the last ending, that's the point of the whole movie. It's the point of the whole character, is that he has this relationship with danger and with the sea and with his life. And it has to have that ending.
That one I don't mind as much as about two other before it that are fake-like endings. I also don't like I also can figure out, I don't want to give too much away, I can figure out a fake left when I know the movie is going right. I'm sure you could too. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. But
it's a very good thriller. It makes a big effort to make these characters different from other characters in other thrillers. It's not just a carbon copy cop buddy.
It is not that bad. I can't recommend it because I think that the picture needed to be tightened up.
People will have a hard time finding a more entertaining thriller this summer.
Terminator 2 is really easy.
After they found that, then if they want to find another one, they have to find this one. Coming up next, Boyz in the Hood, the American film that won raves at this year's Cannes Film Festival.
Something wrong? Yeah. It's just too bad you don't know what it is.
Yo, what's your problem, man? Y'all are brothers. You ain't supposed to be fighting each other. For the punk. Come on, Trey, let him fight. Get on. Mama's boy. Get him, go. Get him, go.
Three young men who will take different paths to stay alive in the ghetto in Boyz in the Hood, the exciting first film from a director to be reckoned with, 23-year-old John Singleton. And Boyz in the Hood is one of the very best films I've seen this year, telling the story of three very different friends growing up in South Central Los Angeles. Two of them are half-brothers, one a football hero who is the apple of his mother's eye, the other a minor league drug dealer and addict. Yes, there's quite a difference between them as a college recruiter comes to call.
And this is my other son, Darren.
Hello, Darren.
So?
Can I get you something to drink? Coffee, water, soda?
No, thank you.
How you doing? You met the game against Washington, right?
Yes, I remember. That was a good game. You picked up 276 yards in that game, huh? Yeah. That's pretty impressive.
The third young man, named Trey, played by charismatic Cuba Gooding Jr., has the best chance of making it out of this sunlit ghetto, in part because he has been raised by a strict father. Trey has a girlfriend who likes him a lot, but he pushes her too hard, like a lot of young men that age.
You say you want to wait till you get married first, right? Oh, look at me, right? And I say that I'm going to be the one who marries you. So, technically, it don't make no difference whether we do it now or later. We're still going to get married, right?
Throughout the film, there is a constant threat of violence. Gangs casually roam the streets. Police helicopters hover overhead, and the police themselves offer less hope than you might expect.
Got any drugs or weapons on you?
No. I didn't do nothing.
You think you tough? You tough, huh? Oh. Scared now. I like that. That's why I took this job.
There's one good scene after another in Boyz in the Hood, and a film that reminded me a lot of Martin Scorsese's early picture Mean Streets, with its insights into the self-destructive life of an Italian-American ghetto. This director, John Singleton, has a seemingly effortless style that is based more on the content of his characters than any particularly flashy camera moves. It's a heartbreaking film, as these lives take a natural, inevitable course, and I think a major new director has arrived.
I agree with you, Gene. I think this is one of the best movies of the year, and I think that Singleton does have a kind of a fluid, natural directorial style here. I like the comparison to Scorsese, especially in the sense that in this movie we get a sense of these kids developing over a period of years. We see them as youngsters. We see them growing up. We see the influences on them and the different paths that they can take, and we understand some of the reasons behind the choices that they make. This is a movie that doesn't just show good guys and bad guys and easy confrontation and violence and who gets shot is the one who loses and who holds the gun is the one who wins. It shows traps that people can fall in and ways that they can avoid falling into them, and it's a really great movie.
You see parental influences, you see friendships, things that people might have done. There's a lot of might have done, and you can see it, and as you sit there and watch it, your heart goes out, and you would like to say, gee, if only this kid had this father rather than this, things would be different. There's one exceptional sequence in the movie, which I want to talk about for a second, and that is a football. The boys, as young kids, go off, and they are, some bigger kids take away their football. Well, I haven't seen a movie where such a simple little thing like that. I was praying in my seat that the football would be returned.
Yeah.
And what I think that whole sequence stands for is, frankly, black on black crime. And what this black director is saying is that if those boys won't return that football, then then there's no hope. And it's a big moment in a terrific
This movie
picture.
doesn't have the usual easy targets. It's not a get-whitey movie. This is a movie about how people within themselves and within their own lives and their own families can make a difference if they try hard enough and if they have a little luck. It's really a good film. A teenager falls in love with an older woman who has a secret in The Miracle, coming up next.
Keep him. As a present from a woman who's too old.
Our next movie is called The Miracle. It was directed by Neil Jordan, who made the very good Mona Lisa, and this is a strange romantic fable set in a coastal resort outside of Dublin in Ireland. The hero of the story is a young man who lives there with his father, an alcoholic musician, and the hero and the girl who is his best friend have a hobby, people watching. One day they're startled to see a glamorous woman arrive by train in their obscure little town.
She got off at the wrong stop.
No, she didn't.
She's looking for something.
How do you know?
Observation.
That's Beverly D'Angelo as the newcomer in town, and Neil Byrne and Lorraine Pilkington as the locals. The boy instantly develops a crush on the older woman who seems interested in him, but discourages his romantic advances.
Will you be here tomorrow?
Maybe. Will you?
What's going on here? The more he asks, the more secrets she seems to have.
No.
I like the performances in this movie very much, but the story was really an exercise in frustration. All of The Miracle is based on one of those enormous secrets from out of the past that everybody in the audience guesses right away, and nobody in the movie ever seems to figure out. The Miracle is a movie with a certain romantic charm in its opening scenes, but eventually the screenplay gets bogged down in artificially trying to maintain a mystery that ought to be obvious to everyone. This character is a bright kid, and yet he has to play dumb because the screenplay plays dumb with him. And by the last half hour of this movie, you just want to say, hey, kid, you know.
Yeah. Well, if you had never seen a movie before in your life, you would figure this one out. This is so obvious. And then the other thing is the character of the father. Now, why should we be interested in this guy? He's drunk. I mean, he's alcoholic. I feel sorry for him generically, but in his specific instance, the guy's a complete mope. Get rid of him.
And why is he helped to keep this secret? He never tells us why. She never tells us why. Why, since she knows the secret, does she lead this kid on? What's going on in the pseudo-incestuous scenes?
Neil Jordan is too good.
You're squirming in your seat and saying, rewrite.
He's too good a director to be involved with this material. When we come back, a new home video series of award-winning short subjects.
And now it's time for my video pick of the week, and this one reminds me of the golden days of movie theaters when they used to include a short subject before the main event. These days, the theaters never seem to do that anymore, but directors of short films are still at work making brief and brilliant little movies. For example, this one called Dr. Deadbug by Ethan Cohen Sit, about a chef obsessed with killing a cockroach. It's one of 11 shorts in the collection called Best of the Fest 1990, which brings together the winning short films from film festivals all over the world. If you're one of those video lovers who wants to warm up your audience before the main event, it might be fun to show one of these short subjects before the feature attraction.
Okay, now let's take another look at the movies we reviewed on this show. 2 thumbs down for Mike Nichols' Regarding Henry, a soft-headed drama about the rehabilitation of yuppie lawyer Harrison Ford. 2 thumbs up for 101 Dalmatians, a strong animated adventure, a refreshingly light film from 1960. A split vote on Point Break, the surfer bank robbery movie. I wanted the film to be a whole lot tighter. Roger enjoyed its depth. 2 thumbs up, way up, for Boys in the Hood, the impressive filmmaking debut of John Singleton, who has created a heartbreaking drama. We both think it's one of the year's best films. And 2 thumbs down for the screamingly obvious The Miracle. So the one that we really recommend is Boys in the Hood, and by saying heartbreaking, that does not mean not entertaining.
No, and it doesn't mean downbeat either, because at the end there was a great deal of hope and a great deal of promise for the future, and this is such an accomplished film in so many ways. I was really impressed by it. Next week we'll have reviews of the new John Hughes production, Dutch, the comedy starring Married with Children's Ed O'Neill, and also the sequel Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey starring Keanu Reeves. That's next week, and until then, the balcony is closed.
Louisiana is specially blended for iced tea. That's why people who like iced tea love Louisiana. Available in regular or decaf. Kraft Touch of Butter Spread. It's made with rich, creamy butter. So when Kraft Touch of Butter says buttery taste, believe it. A touch of real butter makes a real difference. Pledge. Still shining after 30 years with no buildup. And with its touchable shine, even smears just disappear. Plus, for quick dusting, there's new anti-static Pledge dusters. Did you know that Wesson Light Cooking Spray has less than 1 calorie per serving? Wesson Light, less than 1 calorie.